Greetings and salutations, beautiful people in the beautiful world. He is I am him. My name is Zach Latimer, Z-Lat, Z, take your pick. I am your host, and you are now tuned in to Right and Exact. And I'm going to give you some exact facts. Yeah, let's jump right in. Jump right in. So something that I've been thinking about was gifts, right? It's the season. I'm sure many of you have gotten some gifts over the past couple days. And sometimes what I was thinking of is gifts can feel like a curse when you find the right and get the right gift. What am I talking about, huh? Well, at the very least, sometimes you could just walk down the street. Let's say this. You walk down the street and you just meet people and you start to strike up conversation. And when you strike up this conversation, you just ask them, hey, man, how's everything going, brother? And everything is great. I'm wonderful. And you say, that's excellent. What makes everything great and wonderful? That's when you start to get some interesting answers. Interesting answers, to say the least. Sometimes you're going to get this, everything is great because, it's just great. And that maybe they've never heard that question before, so sometimes they freeze. Or you're going to get this one. Everything is great because I'm alive, I'm right there with you. That's a great start. And sometimes you need to go back to the beginning when you feel like all is falling apart, your whole world is coming down. Yeah, you need to just know that you are still alive, you are still breathing, and you have another chance to give it another go. Now, that's a gift. You have the gift of life. Now, what are you going to do with that gift? Right? Why are you down here? There got to be some greater reason, greater purpose for you to be down here than for you to just be paying bills and doing everything on a day-to-day basis of the same thing, night in and night out, punching this clock. There's got to be some greater purpose that you're down here for. So, when you finally tap into that, when you touch into that gift, and let's say somebody comes along and you just hear some words of wisdom, and let's say somebody gives you a gift, and they give you that gift, they say they drop a jewel. Oh, he dropped a jewel. That's a gift. And it'll inspire you. It'll inspire you to almost kind of you start hitting the books, going in a direction, because now all of a sudden you kind of get that, this is the direction I should be going in. And when you finally start to get out there, you start to do that studying to hone your craft, you look back and you notice that you're by yourself. I'll give you an example because you ever seen a kid who was in a store, maybe a child, and they're in the mall or in the grocery store or whatever, and when they're with their parents and they start walking away because they get distracted by something, or they get their head down and they just get in the zone. And they get out there and you just stare and you watch them. You watch them as they weave through the crowds, looking in the windows, looking at the shelves and doing all of this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, it kind of hits them and they notice that they're out there by themselves, right? And I've noticed one of three things is going to come along when they find out and they look up and they're out there by themselves. They look up and they look back and they try to find who it is they came with, and they'll come sprinting back and they're like, oh man, you guys tried to leave me, right? Or they'll get out there and they'll look and they won't see who they came with. And then they'll forget where they're going. Like, I don't even know really what I was out here for. And they just break down and they just start crying. They're crying and they're looking for somebody to come help them, right? And then you got the ones that just keep going and you got to go, hey, kid, get back here, right? You got those too. Well, what does that look like when you become an adult? When you finally get on that path to you find and discover what your gift is. All right, and you get out there, and as you start to study and as you start to hone your craft and you go after it, you find out that you're not close to that group no more. And a lot of people, when they get out, they find out that this gift feels more like a curse than it is a gift, because now, once you've done that studying and you gain that knowledge and that wisdom, you can't no longer, you're held to a different standard. You're accountable now. You know. You can't say I just didn't know. But sometimes that gets too much for people. So then they run back because they want to join the group. They still want to involve themselves in the lower level things. They want to go to the club. They would still want to smoke. They want to drink. They still want to just, let's say ignorance is bliss. I'd rather just have a good time, man, because life is so short and you just got to turn up. Turn up. Right? They run back to the group because it's too much for them. You got some people who get out there, and once they get out there and they kind of, now they're stuck in the middle because now they still hold themselves accountable. Right? So they know they can't go back. But then they lose track of their why, of why they even got out there in the first place, of why they even got on that road, why they even started to uncover and unravel the layers of that gift. So then all of a sudden they get depressed. They get down on themselves because they lost their why. And then they just break down. They have these nervous breakdowns. They get in depression. They just seem to can't speak. They don't want to come out of the house. And then you got the ones, when you get out of there, you look back, and you say, you know what? I got to keep going. You got to be hungry. You got to stay. You got to go after what it is because you can feel it. You know you're on the right track. And guess what? Everybody else is not going to come along because they don't see it. You're creating, when you get out there and you start creating a path for yourself, and you start going down that lane, that line, that you know you're going down the right direction, and you know you can't go back and hang out with the group no more. Sometimes it's you out there, like my instructor told me, it's a lonely walk. It's a lonely walk, and everybody's not going to understand what you're doing. Everybody doesn't see and have the eyes that you see. And you're going to start feeling like, man, am I really doing the right thing? Am I making the right decision? Because the whole group is back there. That's when you got to have that toughness and that grit to keep going. There's a line that was used in The Matrix when he says, so am I the one? She asked him, are you the one? I don't know. Either one. She asked him or he asked her. I don't remember. Go back and look at it. And then I think she says, you're not the one, kid, or whatever. And when you're the one, when you're on that right path, when you find your purpose, you'll know. Like, it's like being in love. Once you're in love, can't nobody tell you you're in love. You just know. Well, once you get out there and you know that you're on this right path, you can feel it. You got to keep going. You got to find that toughness. You got to find that grit. You got to find what it's inside of you. You got to pull it out of you. And you got to know you got to keep grinding, because as you get to this better space, once you get there, people are going to start asking you, how did you do it? And for that short period of time, which feels like forever, you're going to feel like this ain't the right thing because you want to rejoin the group. That's when you got to find it in you to pull that out of you, to go get it. And to know that, you know what? I'm not going to rejoin the group because I'm not going to look to the world for validation. The world is going to look to me for validation. So what does that mean? You got to keep going. You got to keep grinding. Pull it out of you to keep just mashing. Mash. You got to run on jet fuel. Everybody pumping that E87 or whatever, that cheap gas, you got to run on jet fuel. And then when you land in your destination, and then they start asking you, how did you do it? Let me show you. Let me show you. But again, stop looking to the world for validation when the world is looking to you for validation. Open that gift. Open the gift and keep going. That has been this segment. I will that everybody enjoy it. I will that everybody has a wonderful day and you have an even better week. Tiz is me. Tiz is out. Peace.